Alright, let's first start about my last Gourmia air fryer, and this is the first one I bought at Costco. It lasted about 5 months, and the thing went crazy. I started counting up to the highest number and locking up, and I contacted Gourmia. They sent me out another one, and this one here, after about another 5 months, did the exact same thing. The control panel went out of control, and it was no longer usable. And I dragged out this Bagot one I had been given a while back, but really don't like that one. It's too small. So down at Costco, and we found this Gourmia one here on sale for like $39. So I figured, okay, let's try another one. They can't be all that bad. I know the last one was still under warranty, but I just didn't want to bother with it. I just didn't want another one. So this is a new one that I picked up, and the first thing I noticed, it's 6 quart, same as the old one was, but the basket is much smaller. It's really disappointing at what they did. They made the basket smaller and deeper, and we really liked the bigger basket because it meant even cooking, and it meant everything, getting crisped up good without stacking. And they did replace the different type of little rubber feet on this one than the last one. Last ones were a pain to get on and off. They fall off and then you couldn't get them back on. And this one really is a little bit of a pain to get the door in sometimes too. And they put a note right on them now during the first uses. There might be a hot plastic smell. Well, those last two almost killed me. They were just so stinky and burning plasticky for like a couple days, it seemed like, after we started using them. Everything tasted like plastic. So I figured I'm going to take this one downstairs in my shop and plug it in the first time because I don't want that smell up in the house. So here we are. I'm just going to first time turning it on. It's nice. This has an air fry button on it. And I'm going to turn it on for 20 minutes. And you can see this goes into a preheat mode first, which is really nice. It doesn't start counting down during that time. So it preheats, and then it says add food. And then at that point, it starts counting down. So that's a much better feature than the last one. So I set it for 20 minutes. And you can see there's some, vent on the back there. And there was some, stink coming out of it from burning plastic. But it just wasn't as bad as the last one. It was just like a real light, different type of smell. It didn't smell like it smelled more like hot plastic than burning plastic on this one. So I ran it for 20 minutes and everything, nothing got really too hot. And it looks like they've got much better airflow around that top plate on this one, which probably was the reason the control panels were burning up on the last one. It's probably too hot in there, and, it got to a point where the components just couldn't take it. So this one, it seems to work good, and it doesn't smell anywhere near as bad as the last one. I think it's all ready to use here after just 20 minutes, so I'm very happy about that. So back up in the kitchen now, and I'm gonna try it for my first couple uses. And first thing I'm gonna do is do some eggplants, and we usually do them for the other air fryer. We do them for 8 minutes in. So I just set this for 10 just so I could stop at 8. And those are our frozen eggplants I made the video about. We do them every year. And first thing I noticed immediately is this basket would only hold like 4 pieces of eggplant without stacking it. Where the last one we would have done this all in one batch. So that's a big minus for this unit here. It's just they messed around with that basket and made it deep and smaller, which really stinks. But I let it count down to 4 minutes, and at that point I always flip them in the middle, and they do look pretty good. One thing that I did notice though is that the outer edges of them that are facing the outside of the pot are getting hotter in this one. It seems like it looks like they're a little bit crispier than the rest of it. So this one doesn't seem to be quite as even a cooking one as the last one. But there they are. In the same amount of time, 8 minutes at 400 degrees, and you can see how nice they come out. They actually taste like they're fresh when you quick freeze them like that, and just throw them in the air fryer. They come out nice and crispy, and kind of like real nice and soft in the middle. Really nice tasting. So I'm going to have to do 2 runs here with them. I can only get 4 in at a time, so we'll have to eat them in shifts. And I'm just going to set that back to 8 minutes now that I know it takes the same time. So there you can see they're a little bit more crispy on like halfway around where I was facing the outer edges. But they did come out nice. And we're having them with some pasta and some fresh romaine tomatoes. Not romaine, Roma tomatoes. So here's the second batch halfway through, and you know, when that one's done, it did actually come out a little bit over crispy there, and the edges, some of the edges, like I said, that were facing the outside are a little bit overdone and you know, basically charred a little bit. So this one definitely is not as even heating as the other one was. It's got hotter spots around the outside edge. Then there was a recipe in a book that came with it for a maple glazed butternut that said it would be done in 12 to 15 minutes. Well, I've never cooked a butternut that fast in my life before, so had to go down and grab a butternut just to try this out and see how it comes out. So it said make 1-inch cubes, so all I'm doing is just you know, cubing up 4 cups of butternut, and it wasn't even a whole butternut that it took. And then they said you put maple syrup on it, and I'm not following the directions for the quantity. I'm just squirting this and squirting that. But, you know, a little maple syrup, and this is maple syrup from the trees in our backyard. So it's really good stuff. And I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil. They say put some olive oil on it. I guess that helps it brown up a little bit, along with the sugar and the maple syrup. Tell you to put a little bit of kosher salt on it, so that's all I'm doing. I'm putting it in my hand first so that I don't spill the whole, put too much in. And then some ground black pepper there. So you can see it only takes like a minute to prepare this, to cook it, and then they say it takes 12 to 15 minutes to cook. So I got everything in there, and I'm just going to try to get everything coated evenly with it. Kind of hard with the olive oil, but and then they say to spray the basket in the bottom with some cooking oil, and we never do this in the house, so I took it outside to spray and brought it back in. That stuff gets in the air and gets on everything after you spray it inside. Just a fine mist that, you know, gets stuck on everything. It's unbelievable. So I put this thing on, I heated it up, I set it for 20 minutes because I don't know how long it's going to take my first time, and they said you know, just get it one layer in the bottom here, and it just fit perfect to 4 cups. They should really call this a 4-cup air fryer. But and then I set it for 20 minutes, and as you can see, a heck of a lot of steam coming out of here, and it's all going up on that control panel and stuff. So I'm not sure if that's going to be a downfall to this one too in the long run, but after I think it was about 6 minutes, I decided to turn it because they said it could cook as quick as 12. So tried turning them individually, but that just didn't work out too good. They were just bouncing around and moving. So finally, I just took and shook it and shook them all up. So when you could see, they were mixed up. And this is at the 12 minutes there, and they're starting to look pretty good. But they actually could use I'll mix them up good here, and they could use another 2-3 minutes. So here we are at the 15 minutes in, and I'm going to call them done. They really did come out looking good, and in the end, they actually were really good. I was amazed. This is going to be one of our new favorites. It's going to be a quick way to use up the butternut, too. You can just grab one whenever you want it and have it cooked in 15 minutes. So we just had that with a little ham steak and some steamed cauliflower, and that made a really nice meal, and it was really quick. So now the one thing I like doing in the last one with French fries. So I just grabbed two potatoes from down in the root cellar to cut up and do. And you know, it takes a little while to get them cut up and stuff. I like to cut them fairly small. You can cut them any size you want though in this. And I'm actually not moving too fast here because I got a little problem with one of my arms there. So that's why it's taking so long. But, you know, what I do is I just take and I cut the fries up. I like to hand cut them, and then I take a little container of water, and I soak them all once they're cut in water for about 15 minutes to remove any starch that may be in them. And after about 15 minutes, you can see there's not much starch in them. But then I drain them, and I'll just put them on either a kitchen towel, or I'm using paper towel here, and just try to dry them all off, because you don't want them to be wet when you put them in the air fryer. So do a good job, but I just try to get all the water off that I can on them, and then just throw them back in the bowl, and at that point I'll put some little bit of oil on them. And these always are one of my favorites when you've got the fresh picked potatoes. I'm just gonna shake a little bit of olive oil in there to coat them up, and then put on a little bit of salt and pepper, and just keep mixing them up here to make sure everything's got a nice even coat on it. Add a little bit of salt on them, and then I put pepper on them usually too. Just grind a little bit of pepper on them. And I find these come out much better than the ones that you buy that are already cut and got all kinds of spices and salt on them and stuff. So my old air fryer did them 400 for 22 minutes would make them perfect. So I'm going to try that on this one too. So it preheats, and I'm just going to dump them all in here. And the one thing I noticed is they're stacked a little bit higher in this one. And, the other one, with this many potatoes, would just lay flat on the bottom, and they would cook just perfect. So sometimes that drawer is very sticky to get back into, I'm noticing. But, it does take a good yank and stuff. But when I do these, I usually take them every 5 minutes, and I'll just stir them up a little bit, mix them up, and then put them back in there. And that really usually helps them get cooked nice and even. And one more stir here. And I am noticing as you're going in there that they're really not really cooking all that even. I mean, there's a lot of them that are still white and stuff, so I'll just let them finish up that 22 minutes there, and then take them out. And there they are, pretty much done. They really could use another 2 minutes, it looks like. But then again, some of them would be burned to a crisp if I put them in 2 more minutes. So I'm going to say that this one just doesn't cook as even as the last one that we had. You can see there's some that are white yet, some that are nice and crispy. And this is what I wound up doing with the last ones, because our county doesn't recycle anymore. So what you have to do is tear all the electronics out of these things so you can put them in the garbage. Put them in bags, put them in the garbage, get rid of them. The only way to get rid of electronics up here anymore. So there it is. I thought I'd give you a quick overview of my thoughts about this one. The jury's still out on it. I'll use it for a couple more times and see how it works out. And for the price, I guess you really can't beat it. And it does do some things really good, like those butternuts came out perfect. I'll do some future updates on this one too. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.